A new year is right around the corner, which means new opportunities. And there are 3 books that I've been reading this month that I think would make great additions to your reading list in 2019. And in this video, I'll share with you what each of these 3 books are, plus a bonus 4th book, and why I've enjoyed them so much.
Well, hey there, and welcome to Pro Church Tools, the show where in 10 minutes or less, you'll get a dose of tips and tactics to help your church share the message of Jesus, while we navigate the biggest communication shift in 500 years. I'm your host, Alex Mills, joined as always by the boss man, Brady Shearer.
One of the best ways to grow your church, Alex, is to grow yourself.
Isn't that the truth?
And to grow your church leadership, because healthier individuals, healthier leaders, leads to healthier churches. And so I always like to get a jump start on the new year. I usually start all of my new year prep in November and December.
Wow.
I think, Carlos Whitaker also does this. He does his Fit by First in December rather than waiting till January. I love that. I know Nathan Barry, the founder of ConvertKit, he's all about like, hey, I always start my New Year's resolutions in December because we're weird like that, I guess.
Yep.
And hey, I'm weird in a lot of ways. So let's talk about 3 books plus a bonus 4th book because I can't even follow my own rules. The first book, the delay was I had to pick up the book. If you're listening, that's why I delayed. The first book, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I think that this is the best book on habits that I've read since Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit in 2012, which is one of the best books on habits ever. What I love about this book is it talks about the power of, obviously, atomic habits. And atomic in this instance is defined by atoms, the smallest substances that make up all of matter.
Right.
And it talks about how even just the tiniest habits stacked on top of one another and on each other can create huge and lasting change. There's this quote by Steve Jobs that I've been thinking about. Sorry, it's not by him. It was a favorite of his. And the quote was something, to the tune of, the first 30 years of your life, you make your habits, and the second 30 years of your life, your habits make you.
Oh, wow.
I'm 27. A lot of us in the office are either 30 already. Most of us are still in our, mid to late 20s. And we're getting close to that point where the part of our brain that is adaptable to change is just going to start becoming less malleable.
Right.
And you need to be more intentional about actually changing your habits because eventually, your habits, they just make who you are. There's that saying, you're the sum of the 5 people closest to you. The only other part of that's true is that the habits that you form, which become the subconscious actions you're taking on a day-to-day basis, those eventually become your identity.
Right.
And so I'm realizing I need to become more intentional. I've noticed in my own life, change used to be a little easier than it is now. And so I've got to start making some changes, and this book has been remarkably helpful for that.
Well, this is probably one of the reasons that a lot of us don't succeed with our New Year's resolutions. You mentioned New Year's resolutions, whether they're fitness goals or health goals or personal goals, relational goals, whatever they are. We start making the changes we need to make and start doing those things that we need to be doing to make those changes. But unless we do it for long enough and put in the work to make it a habit, that change won't last. And that's why a lot of people keep giving themselves the same New Year's resolution every January or November in your case, because they didn't take the time to make it a habit and actually make it a part of who they are. And like this book says, on like an atomic level. I think that's very cool.
Book number 2 is a very small and easy to read, digestible book called My Morning Routine. It's written by Benjamin Spall and Michael Zander. And this book, similar to some of Tim Ferriss's books like the Tribe of Heroes,
Tribe of Mentors,
Tools of Titans. That's it. Yeah. Basically, it is a compilation of morning routines by everyone from business people to actors to athletes and everything in between, and just the way that we structure our morning. For me, the first 5 hours, 3 to 5 hours of my day is when I'm most creative. It's when I do all of my writing, all of the prep for shows like this, and my wife and I just bought a new house. We're going to be moving in the new year, which means I'll probably be working from my home office in the morning rather than coming to this office. And my morning routine is going to completely change. It's going to be a brand new environment. And so I'm just getting inspired by going through all the morning routines of people and seeing the differences between, it's just even simple things like, what do you do when you have a dog? Oh, I take my dog out here and then I make my coffee, or I make my coffee and then I let out my dog, then I feed him, but then I don't. It's just like even little things like that. And I really want to solidify that because, again, I'm most creative then. If there's any way to even maximize that creativity more, I and the business and my churches will be better off for it.
Right. Well, both of us have, pretty important morning routines, and we both feel like it sets us up for success for the rest of the day. Now, today on Instagram, one of my followers was posting, hey, I want to start up getting earlier if you've done this, how do you do this? And I thought that was interesting that he reached out and said, hey, for people who have done this, how did you accomplish this? And I think that's probably what a book like this can help you with, reading the experience of others and seeing what their routines are like and how they're working for them. That could be very helpful.
And the final book I have is a book I'm writing myself. No, I'm not selling you a book, but this is a journal. It's the Michael Hyatt Full Focus Planner. The idea behind this journal is that it's flexible enough that you can write just freestyle and freeform, but it's structured enough that you'll keep up with it every day.
Okay.
I have done journaling in the past that's been completely freeform, like in a moleskin. But what I like about this is that it has structure. That even if I wake up in a day and I'm like, I just don't really feel like, pouring all of my feelings and emotions.
Dear diary.
Why did I eat another pizza again? What? 9 p.m. I had to get all those gummies. Was that really necessary? We'll get to the fourth book on this list. But what I love about this is that it's allowing me to stay consistent with my journaling. It's got a place for annual goals, monthly calendar, your ideal week, daily pages. So it breaks it down. And this is how I do it in my Evernote already. So it's already kind of the habit I've already formed, which is like yearly, quarterly, weekly, daily.
Right.
And it's got pages and places for all of that.
Very cool.
There's a bonus fourth book that I've ordered off of Amazon. The way that I normally read books that I really like is I buy them on Kindle. If I like them enough on Kindle, I'll get them on Audible so that I can read it through once and then listen through it a second time. And then I'll also buy the physical copy so I can just put it on my desk. So if I need a quick reference for something, it's right there. I bought this book physically, but it has not arrived yet for whatever reason, Canada Post. And I've also listened to it on Audible and read it on Kindle already. It's called Wired to Eat by Rob Wolf. And the book is all about rewiring your appetite. Talks about the super stimuli of food that we have to deal with on a daily basis. Like nothing should be this sugary. That's manufactured. Nothing should be this palatable. It's manufactured. And, it talks about, eating addictions and just rewiring your appetite from the ground up. And I'm noticing that as I get closer to 30, again, man, just all these things that are closer to 30, it's just so hard being 27.
Yeah.
I'm really not trying to sound jerky to everyone. Eating entire pizzas every night is starting to seem unsustainable. And so I'm like, man, I need to do better at this for myself, but also for my family, for my daughter. You have kids young and maybe you haven't figured out life out as much as you think, or you work so hard in your business that you just don't take the home as care of as much as you want to. And so just focusing on, restabilizing my appetite based on real food, not on this super stimuli of manufactured food that is literally created to force me to eat it and never stop eating it. Bet you can't eat just one. No one ever said that about roasted asparagus. Like I made 2 pounds of it the other night. I got through a pound and I was like, I literally cannot. Give me 8 bags of Lay's chips. I will demolish them. Yeah. I have this capacity that my father has passed on to me that there's literally no end for food.
It is your spiritual gift.
It's a...
Look, we're not a nutrition podcast, but we do care about each other. We care about everyone who's listening, and we care about churches and the health of your church in like a holistic way. Yes. And I think you can quantify that down to the health of the people that make up the church, and in this case, church leaders. And we all know that food and nutrition is the stuff we're putting in our body is the fuel for our bodies, right? It's the gasoline of how we're going to run and how far we're going to be able to run. And working in church can be hard. And if we're not treating our bodies and our minds well enough, our church body, the people who come and are a part of our church, are going to suffer for it. And so it starts here, and let's start now.
3 books and a book you can write yourself to add to your 2019 reading list. Or, hey, pull a Brady. Get started in the month of December as 2018 comes to a close. That'll do it for this episode of Pro Church Tools. We'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Now make sure that you subscribe to this channel so you never miss another video.
And we don't ask for much from you, but right now all I'm asking, just like this video.
Like the video and subscribe.